Okay, so today is January 21st, 2021. It is 7:05 p.m. This is the Leadership Committee meeting of Community Board 11. And present, we do have a quorum, but just for the record, since the platform we're using does not keep track of who's actually in the meeting unless I announce it. We have the chair of the committee, Yahya Obeid. And then in terms of the officers of the board, we have the chairman of the board, Al D'Angelo. Treasurer Veronica Castro, Secretary Hazel Mura, Sergeant Arms Fernando Zagreta could not be here tonight. He's excused. We have the chair of the Community Development Committee, Andrea Siegel. I don't know if Joe Thompson is in yet. Diane Norris is excused, but Linda White was going to try to fill in for her. Joe Bicote is here, Health Committee Chair. Ken Gelnick is present, Land Use Chair. Veronica Castro, Public Safety Chair. Pat Charles, Parks Chair. Tony Signorelli, I don't know if he's still in or if he got in yet. And then Frano again, Transportation Committee is excused. And we do have members of the public. We have our board member, Cecilia Smoker, and Robert Press is the only people I can see from the public. Yahya?
All right, thank you, Chair. We'll get started with the agenda. Jeremy, can you pull up December's meeting minutes? I know it was a quick meeting.
Yep, just bear with me. Oh, I just had, oh no, didn't I? Okay, got him.
While Jeremy's pulling up the minutes, I'd like a volunteer to take minutes for today's meeting. Do we have any volunteers to take the minutes?
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, it's Hazel.
Thank you, Hazel. Appreciate it.
That reminds me, Yahya, we forgot to discuss who was going to do minutes for the executive board meeting.
Luckily, it was a quick and easy meeting.
Have any volunteers for the executive board meeting as well?
I'll take care of that, Jeremy.
Thank you, Al. Yeah.
And then get next month's meeting.
Pat, you'll do next month's meeting?
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay. Yeah.
All right, as everyone can see the minutes there. Just scroll down slowly, Jeremy. I did zoom in. The screen allows you to zoom in. I already reviewed the minutes. Just want to make sure everyone gets just a quick glance at them before we vote on them. All right, motion to approve December meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Andrea. Anyone against? Anyone abstaining? All right, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the second item on the agenda is the full board agenda for next Thursday. Jeremy, if you don't mind pulling that up.
Yep, just 1 second. So transportation, I know voted on item. I didn't have that fully written yet. But that aside, do we need the precinct this month?
You know, they skipped public safety meeting. I was hoping that they would show up, and I can discuss it with the board. But I was thinking, what does everybody think? I mean, they do spend 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes sometimes. And if we get into questions and answers, it can take up to a half hour for them. While we're trying to reduce the amount of time we meet at the general meeting, I was thinking if they just start attending the public safety committee meeting, if the captain can attend or send someone there, and they can talk about crime stats and do all of that stuff in the committee meeting. So when we do meet at the general meeting, you know, we can just say they attended and they gave us the crime stat sheets. It's available for anyone that requests it. What does everybody think about that idea?
May I say something?
Sure.
I would put next to 49th Precinct that they have a monthly meeting, and anyone interested in finding out what's going on, since they are Zoom meetings, should attend that, because everything that's said at the community board is reiterated again at that meeting, plus other stuff.
Good point, Andrea.
Okay. Yeah, it's Ken Gelnick. I think we ought to discuss it at the board, because many of the board members do not go to the other meetings. It's maybe the only opportunity they get to hear it. Also, many members of the general public don't go to the other meetings, but they do come. They come to the full board meeting, and they might want to hear it. I think it's an issue that we should bring up at the full board and decide it then, and decide at that point.
That's also a good point. I'm just trying to also increase the attendance in public safety in the public safety committee meeting. I look at the 49th Precinct Community Council meeting, where if it's in person, it's always packed. And meanwhile, we have our public safety committee meeting, and we barely have a quorum. So I'm trying to increase the attendance at that meeting as well. And if the captain or the precinct makes a consistent presence there,
Right.
I think that committee would get more members attending.
I'll also try to make that safety meeting as well.
Yeah, and we also, as Veronica knows, you know, we can use some more committee members if anyone's interested in joining that committee. What does everyone else think? Al, what do you think about that?
I just think what you might want to do is have the police give some kind of a written report. They don't have to show up, just a written statistics sheet so that the people, the public can get a statistics sheet before they leave. And then also make the announcement about the public safety meeting that if they want to talk to the captain or the police in person, they should attend the meetings. But this way, it kills two birds with one stone. It keeps the people in the gallery happy, and it also alleviates the police from coming to our meeting, and it also allows them to come to public safety, where hopefully more people will attend because the police will be there in person. Just an idea.
No, that's very good. And since we meet on the last Thursday of the month, and they meet on the last Tuesday, they just meet a couple of days before us. Maybe we can coordinate with them that after their meeting on Tuesdays, if they can send us the crime sheet to Jeremy, and Jeremy can forward it to everyone on the board and to the public. So that way everybody, you know, sees the latest information before the board meeting.
That's perfect. I'm sure the police department would enjoy the fact that it didn't have to come in.
Yeah, but in return, they would have to, not have to, we would urge them to come to the Public Safety Committee meeting.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But we do need them to be at our community board meetings, even if they're not going to speak, just in case something comes up that, you know, they may not know about or they can look into.
So Hazel, if board members don't mind me saying, in person, when we met in person, it was always good to have a police presence there. But, you know, now that our meetings are remote, they're recorded. They have to be recorded. So if something comes up, I guess they could look at it that way to save time.
Yeah, but they may not be able, they won't be able to respond until they see the recording.
Yeah, she's saying if someone asks a question, and the way I see it also, I think we have a good number of board members that participate, that are on the. They might not be able to answer the question directly, but if we do get a question, we can easily bring it to the attention of the police. Like Hazel, you're in a really good position. If someone did ask a question that involves the precinct, you can probably, get an answer if you wanted to, and it was urgent, probably within 5 minutes, just by texting Jay or someone. I'm just trying to shave off 20 minutes, possibly 30 minutes of the meeting. And you know what? Ultimately, it's up to Al. It's just if Frana was here, he'd be praising me right now for trying to shave some minutes off the meeting.
We all want to change.
Anything we can do to shorten our meetings to no more than 2. We should never be there more than 2 hours. In fact, 2 hours is too long.
So,
Okay, well, I don't want to alienate them. I don't want them to feel like they're not welcomed because, we depend on them for a lot. What I'm saying is at least have somebody at the meeting, even if they're not going to speak.
Good point. I think that's okay. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, because then they could send one of the NCOs.
So I can take them off the agenda, and I got to put public safety here anyway because you guys had a meeting, and then ethics. So then I guess it can be announced about attend our meeting, but we will invite them. I mean, we always invite them, or they're always invited, but.
And just an FYI, they didn't actually skip the public safety meeting. James Graham couldn't attend, so he asked Tyrone Medeiros to attend. But unfortunately, Tyrone Medeiros had a security inspection that went longer than he planned, so he missed the meeting. He did call me afterwards and apologize for missing the meeting, and they will try to have someone there for the next public safety meeting.
And Tyrone likes to speak, so I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose.
No, I don't think it was on purpose at all.
I'm sorry, I made a bad joke. Any committee, so is that okay? I take it, you see here, you can still see the screen, I took it off. Is that okay with everybody, or do you guys want to vote on this?
I still think we should discuss it. I think we should discuss it at the full board meeting and ask the full board. We're doing it this way this week. We're not having them, and only if necessary. Would you like to keep this for the rest as a permanent feature? It shortens the meeting.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. This way the full board has a say in our decision.
So I'll put it on, but we'll only discuss it, or we want them there?
I think this time we should have them there, but we can discuss with the police department first to make sure it's okay with them. I'm sure it will be. And then bring it up at the general meeting that this is what we're proposing.
Were they at our last meeting or the November one? I forget.
I think they were at the last meeting. I think they were at the.
So I'll invite them with the intention of giving them the floor to speak, or just we want them present, that's it?
For this meeting, they do their normal whatever, because we're going to bring it up at that meeting about future meetings. So this meeting, everything goes as usual. Again, just my idea. Everything this meeting goes as usual, bring it up to the community board as a whole, whether they approve our proposed changes. And if they do, then we go into, from here on in, they will be present at the safety meeting, but they will not necessarily be present at our general meeting.
Okay, so is everybody in agreement, or do you want to vote on it?
Well, I think we need to talk to them about this first, because like I said, you don't want to alienate them. Cops are very sensitive, and they're going to feel if you don't want them here, then the hell with us. So I think maybe we need to discuss it with.
Yeah, you're right, Hazel. I think first they should be approached and see, whether they like the idea or not. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they don't want to sit there for 45 minutes or an hour and listen to us. But that's just
Especially they have so much to do, because now that they have so much to handle right now with this lockdown, their time is very short and they're all over the place. So that's just to assist them, but they do know that we do love them and care, and we want them to be protected as well, but we do need to see them at either one or the other.
I feel that bringing it up at the full board meeting, you're gonna have the meeting an extra hour, because everybody's gonna have an opinion and have something to say about it.
Yep.
So why doesn't somebody make a motion on something? So try to get something definite so we can move on.
Jeremy, I really feel you should just leave it the way it is and talk to them privately with Hazel or Al and find out how they feel about the situation.
So
9 times out of 10, they don't show up to the meetings anyhow.
I think I'll call the captain tomorrow, if that's all right. Ask him what he thinks. If for any reason that they're opposed to not coming, then we just keep things as is. But if they're in agreement with what we discussed, then we could put it forth in on the agenda. With the,
Well, they're on the agenda anyway, so why don't we just discuss it over this, since the 49th precinct is on the agenda. If we're going to discuss it, we discuss it right after they give their report.
Yeah, the only thing is you don't want to discuss it if the police are against it.
Right, you're right, 100%. One of us will only bring that up if you tell us that the police are not against it.
Absolutely. Oh, that makes sense.
all right, so I'll leave it on the agenda and we'll let it go to the wind, basically. All right. So we'll invite them to attend. I'll leave it on the agenda. All right. So so we got moment of silence, 49 precinct and chairman's report. And we just discussed this at executive board. You want to talk about that, Al?
About what we discussed tonight, yes.
Yeah, the attendance. Do you want to discuss it, or you want me to, Al? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Our decision tonight, you mean, with the executive board?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll just, the attendance, I'll discuss it.
Okay.
But I'll have already called everyone.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about what we discussed then? So, because technically the leadership committee needs to be consulted before we can take any real action. I mean, at least serious action. I know you're going to call everybody, but I think if you tell the leadership committee, at least puts them on notice.
But yeah, but again, we're going to mention it at the full board meeting, what we intend to do, and get their okay. We have to get the full board's okay to do it.
No, you don't. One, two, to make this, to follow the bylaws, you have to consult this committee.
So here, Al, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So during the executive board meeting, we discussed attendance. And we know it's tough times with COVID. We switched to digital platform, and some folks have not maybe caught up to the digital platform. We have about 4 or 5 individuals that have been absent 3 consecutive times. And Al is going to call them and tell them that this is like a verbal warning. And then next month, when we have the executive board meeting again, the folks that did not attend basically next week's meetings, that won't attend next week's meetings, we will bring up a motion to send them a letter of, to potentially remove them to vote on it during next month's meeting. So that was the intention. Usually you miss 3 meetings, according to the bylaws, you get a letter that warns you that you're up for removal. And we vote on it, and either we remove them or not. But with COVID and everything that's happening, Al said we should extend them the courtesy, or extend them another meeting, give them another opportunity to hopefully show up. And he's going to call them, and anyone that requires any type of assistance logging in, that they would notify us, and we give them some sort of training. That's pretty much it. Is everybody okay with that?
I think that's right on the money.
I sort of disagree. May I speak?
Sure.
It shouldn't only be the full board meeting, it could also be committee meetings. Because we don't have a lot of times, the members don't show up, and they also come very tardy, especially to my meetings. I disagree with COVID because I feel that since most of us are home now, it should be easier. And if you can't get on by computer, you can always call in.
May I say something as well?
Yeah. And just to let everybody know, it's not limited to the full board meeting. It is, I just don't have the committee stuff together right now.
Okay, but when you mentioned it, you only said it full board.
Yeah. No, it's going to include committee. Go ahead,
Okay.
Pat.
Okay, and really Jeremy has gone above and beyond to have all forms of testing, and he's put it out there. He's given everybody opportunities to come on and practice. That's the only way that I get better. So, I mean, if we're going to be, holding people accountable, they have to be accountable, because we want to make sure that they're dedicated to this, because I'm dead tired, but I'm here.
I agree with you
So I guess
100%.
I'm dead tired. So we need to, we need to really think about how people are just taking advantage of other people that are really, here to do their job for the committee that they're on. And that's why we need to be able to make sure that the people are going to be dedicated, or get somebody else.
You cut off there, Pat, but go Hazel or who? Somebody else?
I'm finished.
Yeah, I was going to say, I totally agree with both of them, both of the ladies, because when I have my housing committee meetings, it's usually just me and Pat. And I don't think we've ever had a quorum. And even when I had the public, the last meeting on the shelter, I didn't have a quorum. It was just, so it's, at first, I think somebody else came in after, but it's always just been me and Pat. And that's ridiculous because, like she says, she works, I work, and we're tired, but we show up. And there's really no excuse why, if you've committed yourself to being on this board and being on committees, you should show up.
Especially when you're at home now. There's no excuse. You don't have to travel. You don't have to, you can sit in your pajamas. It doesn't make a difference. There should be no excuses for not attending at this point.
Moving on.
All right, so,
Good points by everybody. So that's the plan. I didn't hear. I know everyone brought up good points, but I agree with Al. You know, let's give them this opportunity. Let's let Al give them a call, give them the verbal warning, and next month's executive board meeting, we will vote on a motion to bring them up for removal. And as the full board, next month, we will vote to remove those individuals.
so to do it that way, that means, so Al will speak to them, but we will have to send them written notice about to attend or submit a defense in writing or why they've been absent prior to the executive board meeting. We got to make this official, we have to tell them the time and place of the executive board meeting, next executive board meeting. Okay?
Okay, then I guess we'll wait until the following month.
It's up to you guys. I mean, we can tell them, basically, your attendance, your membership will be discussed at the next executive board meeting. I mean, but to vote them at the full board, you have to do it in writing. I mean, I can still call them,
Well, if you're giving a warning at this meeting, we're going to have a full board meeting at the end of this month, next week. We can discuss it then also. You'll let people know what we're going to do. So everybody knows what's going to happen. Everybody's aware of what's going to happen. And then the following month, we'll do exactly what you said. A letter would go out to those people that would be brought up on charges before the executive board. They will have to come in and explain themselves. And then the executive board will vote to bring it to the full board for expulsion.
Well, if they're gonna take it that far, I mean, if they have a legitimate reason for not being on point and being a part of, then that's where we'll make the judgment whether or not to give them another opportunity. But then once it happens, if it happens again, then we might as well follow through and just have that in place for us to be able to vote for them to
Right.
to
The only
be,
viable excuse at this point could be the fact that they had problems with the internet getting on. Other than that, our bylaws are straightforward. You miss 5 meetings, no matter what the excuse is. There's 10 meetings in the year, 9 meetings in the year. If you can't make 5 of them, there's not an interest there.
But Al, at this
Yeah.
point, you don't have to have the internet. You can call in. And they all have a phone.
No, you're right. Absolutely right. As I said, if you're missing 5 meetings, but
You shouldn't miss any meetings unless, God forbid, something drastic is happening.
if they were sick or they're a family member or whatever,
Right.
but that's the only reason.
I know there's been a couple of excuses, and I know Jeremy has dealt with a few of them where people had trouble getting on, calling in, they couldn't get on. I know Joe Bacote had a problem at one point. Joe Thompson had a problem at one point. Silvio had a problem at one point. I remember trying to get them on and complaining that no matter what they did, they couldn't get on. And I know Jeremy had a class so that they could avail themselves of his knowledge to be able to to navigate the systems. So I think this way it gives everybody a heads up for what we're going to do. The new members know what we're going to do. The old members should be aware of it already. And then it's done, and we got it, and then we go along with the bylaws.
Okay.
Okay, so we're good on that then? We can move on?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, let me go back to the agenda. So, attendance. I mean, I should probably reword the attendance to what the bylaws say about,
That would be a good idea. In other words, mention the bylaws, and then I'll mention, I'll read out the bylaw that has to do with that, and then I'll mention what we have to do about what we're going to do about the attendance.
yeah, so consider removal consideration of a member, that's how, here, I'll do it, because this is the language of the bylaws. That's how I'll do it, okay? I'll do it the language of the bylaws. So that aside, full board minutes for December were published already. I don't know if everybody got a chance to look at them yet. No, maybe so. Okay, moving on. My report, do I have treasurer's report in here? No, I don't. I should have you in here, Veronica. Committee reports, transportation, does this look correct? I think they only have one motion. I don't know, Yahay, if you were there for the entire meeting.
You still have treasurer's report twice, with removal and then treasurer's report.
Yes, I was going to say that too.
What do you mean?
At the end of removal,
Yeah.
consideration
Oh,
of a
that's why.
member, you have
Okay.
treasure. That's where you have treasure. Yeah.
Yeah,
See
sorry.
that,
That's,
Jeremy? Some people do pay attention.
yeah, I know.
Huh?
Okay. Okay, Yahay, were you there for the entire transportation committee meeting this month?
I thought I was, but I missed maybe 2 minutes of it towards the end.
Okay, fine. I'll double check with Chris. I meant to double check with him besides this. But in terms of other minutes, or not minutes, other motions, any other motions that are going to be brought before the full?
Not that I can recall, no.
I don't either. I mean, Pat, you haven't had your meeting yet. Pat's having a meeting next week.
That's
So,
yeah.
so if something changes, if Chris tells me, oh, they voted on this too, or Frano wants something on there, because I know they're having a meeting next month with the MTA, I'll put that on there. But that aside, moving on to gallery session, we have 5 people so far, and I put them in the order that they reached out to me. Elected officials, Fernando Cabrera, he does not represent our area, but he is the chair of the operations committee. The city council, which basically is responsible for community boards. Gustavo Rivera.
Excuse me, Fernando, Jeremy, make
Yep.
sure Mr. Cabrera knows that he can't mention anything about him running for Bronx Borough President.
Yes, I did have, just so everybody's aware, I did have, I think, Vanessa Gibson's office reach out to me. And Councilmember Cabrera's office was clear on what they were going to discuss. Vanessa Gibson, who is also a candidate, was not. Their office was not clear. And when I asked them, well, okay, what's the purpose of the visit? I did not get a response. So I am definitely mindful of that.
Okay, thank
But
you.
I don't think we can deny him. He has spoken at our meetings before as the operations chair. And State Senator Gustavo Rivera planned on coming. And I think this is the rest for the electeds. Of course, it's a lot of people.
Jeremy, I'm sorry, are we reviewing January's full board agenda, right?
Yes, this is January's.
Okay.
Oh,
So
housing. I'm sorry,
where's
housing.
housing? Where's the meeting?
Yep, sorry about that.
Hello?
Okay, there it is. Is it good? Right?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. That's the whole purpose of this meeting. One of the purposes.
One second, Jeremy. Under housing, are you going to bring up the group home?
Hazel, are you going to bring up the group home?
Definitely.
I mean,
All right, and one of
the homeless shelter.
The homeless shelter.
Just for everybody, I'm sorry, the homeless shelter. Just for everybody's knowledge, today we got a letter of intent from another person who's willing to sell their property to the city at a lot less money than the city is paying for the property on Stillwell. I'm going to sign the letter tomorrow, and the deal is basically he's saying he's willing to sell his property to the city of New York. It's between him and a community board, and I'll sign for the community board so that we have another viable option to Stillwell Avenue. And that letter should go out to all our elected officials, including the mayor, and anybody else who needs to see it.
Where
So,
is this,
Go ahead, Ken.
where is the property located? Where is this property?
it's on White Plains Road, and where is that corner? Is that,
Rhinelander.
It's right-
Amethyst.
no, is that Amethyst?
No, it's Rhinelander. It's
It's Rhinelander, but you're right. Hazel did show me.
No,
Yeah.
it's between White Plains Road and Amethyst. Because.
Yeah, yeah. On Rhinelander.
You're right, Hazel. Google Earth. She showed me how to use that the other day.
But the point of this, just so everybody's clear, is that, this shouldn't be a done deal. There are other options for way less money, especially since the city is in a fiscal crisis right now, whether people realize it or not. Right, Al?
Absolutely. And the fact that they were paying twice as well, 1.5 times the value of the property, smells fishy.
Yeah, I thought it was more than that, but yeah, they're definitely paying.
It was more than that.
It was 2.5 times.
It was, yeah. And I don't know if it was double, but it was close. I think it was worth 1.8, and they'll pay 3 point something for it, 3.2 or whatever.
And the other thing that came up at the housing committee meeting, for people that weren't there, correct me if I'm wrong, Hazel, is that the city would be, well, I don't know how it worked, but the rent for the homeless shelter would be $3 million a year, which ultimately I think the taxpayers would be paying for.
It was 3.2 million, I think, a year rent. I should have bought the property. Son of a gun.
So unless there's any other questions on that, the conduct statement, we're okay with that at the bottom?
Jeremy, fix the, you have the general public speaking before the elected officials.
Yeah, we always do that.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
So, yeah, hey, can we move on to the
Under
calendar?
housing,
No, go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
under housing, do you want to put, to notate the homeless shelter, or just leave it housing with nothing underneath it? Since we have the intention of discussing the homeless shelter. What do you think, Hazel?
We can do that. We can put, we can put the homeless shelter. I mean, I'm scared in a way because that might bring a whole bunch of people to the meeting and then it's going to take 4 hours.
You're right, Hazel. That's probably exactly what would happen. Because again, I spoke to someone that came to the association board the other night, and they're ready to they'll hit the streets running if they need be. And I told them just to hold off until we go through all the legal processes first.
So, do you want me? So basically, I think the question is, should we put something under the chairman's report? Was that the question?
No, that would go on to housing.
Housing. I think we should just leave housing the way it is.
Okay.
I mean, people that were at my committee meeting know that we're having a meeting. So if interested or have their 2 cents they want to put in their 2 cents, they can show up, but I don't think we have to encourage them. And when we already know what's going on, and I think we had board members there, so I can briefly just make a little statement about what happened. And I mean, I'm I'm even scared to bring it up, to be honest, because I don't know. It's up to you guys. I mean, we kind of have to bring it up, but I could just write something about it and then we could just send it out there and not bring it up and just say, read my minutes.
It's going to be brought up. If it's not brought up by you, it'll be brought up by people in the gallery, I'm sure.
And I think if you don't talk about it at all at the full board meeting, people are going to be like, why aren't they talking about this when this is probably one of the most important things before them right now?
Not coming through clear, Jer.
So I said, let me stop sharing. Sometimes that interferes. I said, if we don't talk about it at all next week, I think people are going to be like, why aren't they talking about this? And then that will create more problems, I think, in the long run.
Well, what I'm saying is I can make a very brief statement. We had this meeting and this many people showed up, and we had a presentation, and there was a presentation by this agency and the people that are going to run it, and blah blah blah. And if you want more information, the minutes have been posted or whatever, distributed.
Yeah, you're right, Hazel. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, if it's in the minutes, we had a meeting. It's on our YouTube page. I did, because other people wanted to see the meeting. I did upload it. Yeah, you're right. It shouldn't be a problem then.
Yeah, and Jeremy, I didn't get the recording. I don't know where you sent it, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, I sent it a second time to you. I can send it again. I can put it in the chat here too, if that matters.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
I'll send it to I'll send it to you again.
Okay.
The conduct statement, are we okay with having that on the bottom?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. And then anything else?
Yep, we can move to the calendar.
Great. Just bear with me. Is that too small for everybody? Is that okay?
You can blow it up.
It's good.
Mhm.
Pat, why are you
You don't-
having a
You don't see the
Parks
bottom
Committee
of it.
meeting 3 days after a week after your other Parks Committee meeting?
Well, that's because the meeting that we're having this month, there was a holiday that was supposed that we were kind of sketchy on to see whether or not people wanted to actually be there for the meeting, and it was a holiday. But I did see that there was something else there, so I don't know why we couldn't have had her hours, but that's what happened. So we changed it to the 26th. That's what was available. So we're going to do that, and then we'll follow through with January back to our normal scheduling.
So if it's determined at your 26th meeting that you don't want a meeting in February, we can always take it off, right? Pat?
Well, I mean, I just want to follow the guidelines, because we're supposed to have a meeting every month. So I just want to follow through with it. If it's okay with everybody else, we'll take a vote on it and we'll go from there, like we did for January. But at some time, I do want to really still get back to our, Wednesdays that we're supposed to have it.
All right.
So we'll see.
So Ken, did you have a concern about the full board meeting?
Yeah, I have a concern about the full board meeting. The problem is that the full, well, they have Purim is on the 26th. It actually starts the night before on the 25th. And there's some ceremonies and synagogue services that have to be done that night. I would therefore request that it be either moved to the 24th because the 25th would not be a good idea for it. That.
Does everybody hear that? Al?
Yes.
Yep.
So anybody have a preference? Like, is that okay with everybody?
So you want to switch it?
Switch it from Thursday night. I don't really care if it's the 22nd, 23rd, or 24th. The problem is the 25th.
Let's move it to Wednesday then. I don't have any issues with it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Al, you don't have an association meeting. Does it land on that Wednesday?
I'm not sure what week that falls on.
Well,
We
you
have
just
one.
had, you just
We have
had one,
one.
right?
Right, so it's 2 weeks would be the 10th,
No, it's not. So you're safe.
no, 3rd, 17th, yeah.
Okay.
Good thinking, Yahi, thank you.
Any other concerns of conflicts? If not, that's what we'll do it. Yeah. Anybody else? Housing, scheduled, parks, transportation, public safety and ethics. Land use, I don't know if you, speaking of land use, did you see that email from the Borough President's office, Al and Ken, about the zoning text amendment?
No.
Yeah,
I
they
didn't see
want to
that.
know if we were going to vote on it, or when we're going to vote on it. The meeting you had in December where city planning came?
Yeah. No,
I don't know which one.
I don't think I thought we had a public hearing. That was our public hearing on it. And, all right.
Well, we could,
Well,
we could have a public hearing next week on it. Or
that would be,
full board meeting.
yeah.
I mean, the problem is the borough board wants to vote. That's what this is really about. The borough board wants to vote.
And they want our input on it.
They vote that morning.
Which morning? The morning of the full board meeting
Yeah.
of that Wednesday. How about this? Would it be okay if I took a poll from the land use members committee? In other words, they want it before our full board meeting.
I mean, if we were to tell them which way we're leaning, that might be good enough for them.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to poll all of the members of the land use committee, see if we can get a consensus that we agree with it, because it's, to my mind, it was good. It was a good idea. And see if I'll transmit that sentiment to you, okay, to this committee, okay?
Yeah.
Or to the executive board. Actually, I'll transmit it to the executive board.
Yeah, and then and we can make a motion Thursday night, but let me I guess we'll have a public hearing for Thursday night.
I mean, which Thursday night? Next Thursday.
Yeah, next Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Good.
Wait. So they want there's.
So officially, you can poll your members, but it's not official until we vote on it. So,
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we can tell which way we're leaning, but it doesn't mean that's how it'll end up. But, I don't know of a better solution at this point.
You're right. Let's do it that way.
Okay. So, should I going back to the full board agenda, should I put land use on there?
I think you have to put land use on there.
Okay. Okay. I will put them after transportation.
Okay.
And I'll put I won't put a motion because we didn't have a voted on motion, but I'll put the text amendment there. A sub bullet point, so we don't forget. Okay?
Yeah.
So anything else with the calendar for next month? If not, that should conclude the calendar, right?
Did anybody from the budget committee,
Yeah.
Jared, did anybody from the budget committee get to ask you about having a meeting?
Nobody's reached out to me about a meeting.
Hello,
Yeah,
Thank
can you
you.
hear?
I heard you.
Okay, yeah, nobody's reached out to me. So,
Jeremy,
yeah, Joe.
I think we,
this
Hold on,
is
Joe.
Joe.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
Joe.
On the 9th, I was just thinking if it's possible to have someone come to talk to us about how people can really get an appointment for the vaccine. That's a major problem. People can't get on.
Maybe I can address that. I had a deal with Jacoby Hospital. I was sending them names and they were putting the names on the list and those people were getting inoculated. What happened was anybody whose name appeared after tomorrow, they ran out of vaccine. So they're putting them on a waiting list. And then when the vaccine comes in, which they're hoping will be soon, then they will call all those people back and reappoint a scheduled time. Right now, for some reason, how that happened, I don't know. They had supposedly all this vaccine, and now the people that got their first shot are guaranteed their second. But you know, I have your name, Joe, and your wife's on the list at Jacoby. So as soon as things open up again, hopefully you'll be called. And if you know anybody who wants to get on the list, send me the name, date of birth, and phone number. I will send it into Jacoby. They've been very good doing it, only that they ran out of the vaccine.
I had an appointment for tomorrow and it was canceled till next week now.
Yeah, they're hoping
All right.
they get the vaccine by next week. You
Yeah.
may get another call next week.
No, it wasn't Jacoby. I have an appointment at Jacoby also, but this was another place I had 2 appointments. I got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, so long story short, Joe, if we schedule a health committee, meeting, I don't think that's going to do anything for the vaccine for you. Or anybody else.
Okay. All right.
You just gotta keep calling and keep
All
going online.
Calling. We've been calling for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, you know, when it first came out, I went on the website, nothing happened. I called, I spoke to Chris Mastromano from Jacoby, and I asked him if I can give them community names, would they take them? And he said, just give me a list. Whatever list you give me, I will take. And they do. They took everyone, except all of a sudden now they're calling people saying they ran out of vaccine. Why Montefiore?
Right.
Montefiore is doing it now if you have a doctor in Montefiore. Supposedly. I haven't heard anything from Montefiore. It was nice that
I have a doctor. I was at my doctor last week, and she said no, she couldn't do anything for us.
yeah, see, that's crazy. I don't know.
Right.
Jeremy, maybe you could reach out to Marielle. Oh, yeah, you know, never mind. I'll call tomorrow and find out what's going on. Because Montefiore, Jacoby reached out to the community, which I thank them for. Monty is not.
Mariella was on leave.
Then
Yeah,
I'll call Michelle Michaels.
Yeah, that reminds me, you guys, Health did have a committee. I got to put you guys on the full board agenda because we did have a meeting with Montefiore. But that aside, going back to the full board agenda, in terms of the calendar change we just did for the full board for February, I think somebody should mention that publicly to kind of cement the idea that we're not going to meet normally in February. So should I do that under the chairman's report or leadership committee? Probably leadership committee, right?
Okay.
Okay. Is that okay? That takes care of vaccine and the agenda again for now.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
And the calendar. I can close the calendar. Yeah,
Yeah, sorry. I thought I was unmuted. Yep, we're done with the calendar.
okay.
I thought this was going to be a quick meeting.
Nothing we do is quick.
Well, better tonight than next week, you know?
Yeah, I blame Al.
Thanks.
Your meeting was a lot quicker, so. All right, we'll go to the gallery session. Who do we have from the public? Or-
We have Robert Press and Cecilia Smoker still. So if either of them want to say anything, you now's your opportunity. Go ahead, Bob.
I would suggest that you have the police give a rundown of the monthly crime stats, the 7 major ones, at the full board meeting, and then have them answer maybe only a few questions, and that'll provide you a few, whatever you need about the crime stats, and they can give a minor report and just have it done in 5 minutes. Also, as far as the homeless shelter, the city does not buy the property. The developer buys the property, builds the building. A nonprofit leases the building from the developer, and the city pays the nonprofit the lease money. That is the way it goes. It is a 5-year lease with a 4-year renewable option. If anybody who was at housing, Hazel, you heard me say that, and the woman said yes. That is the way it goes. It's a 5-year contract with a 4-year renewal. So after 9 years, the city has all of this money, the developer has all of this money. The building is paid off, the building of the building, not just the land, but to build it. Okay, this is what STAG has done in boards 6, 7, 8, and 12. So that's how I know this. Okay.
So Bob, if you don't mind me, just to clarify that means taxpayers are on the hook for this proposal if it goes through for $15 million, $3 million over the course of 5 years. In other words, $15 million total we're paying.
No. If it's $3 million for 5 years, that's what they're on the hook for. And then there's a renewable contract for 4 more years at whatever price is negotiated.
So, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's $3 million a year currently. Current proposal is $3 million, 3.2. So it's at least $15 million for the length of the 5 years.
And I think there's a 3% increase every year in the rental fee. I think I read that somewhere.
No, that would be in the renewal lease, Al. Not.
Oh, is that right? Okay. All right. I stand corrected.
And like I said, the building is paid off in full within those 9 years. Thank you.
Yeah, but then Robert, why did the chick from the Department of Homeless Services say that they were willing to look at another site if we could provide one for them?
You're going to need another developer to build a building there unless this guy will. That's why. The city does not build anymore.
Yeah, but that's kind of not how she made it sound. She made it sound like if we found another site, that they would take a look at it and take it into consideration and not build on Stillwell.
Well, I would then call Nicole up and ask her to clarify what she said then, if I was you.
That's exactly what she said.
Okay, and then that's what we're gonna have to do because I know what I heard.
And I heard the same thing, Hazel.
And so did I.
And it's going to be in Hazel's minutes, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, if you send me the recording, yeah.
Yeah, I third time's the charm, hopefully.
Okay.
All right. Anything else, Bob? I cut you off. I'm sorry.
That's it. I'm finished. Thank you.
Thank you,
Cecilia,
Bob.
did you want to say anything? You press *6 to unmute yourself. If not, old business. Yeah, hey.
Nothing. Anyone with old business? I don't have anything.
nope.
New business?
Okay.
I believe I would like to say something for new business. I was speaking to some of my neighbors and housing is, I think someone said that they were going to build a command center on the grounds of where the big green is, where there's a lot of green space where the contractors have put all their stuff and everything. They said that that is the area that they might be designated for a command center there. I would like to know if that's true and how we can go about making sure that they don't do that, because we need much more things there, but more than a command center.
Can you say that again?
So
Yeah, who's building a command center?
Eastchester Gardens. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I was speaking to some of my neighbors yesterday, and that's what they had brought to my attention. So that's what I'm questioning to find out if that is true and how we can go about, making sure that we get our ideas for the property that's on Eastchester Gardens would be better suited for instead of a command center.
I missed it. Who's building the command center?
What is a command center? I mean,
We don't know. We don't know whether or not it's NYCHA or who or what, but that's the brief statement that was given to me yesterday. So that's what I'm questioning, if that is true. So that's what I want to try to do some research on and try to find out who I could speak to find out if that's so.
okay. Okay, we can reach out.
Okay, thank you.
So
Okay,
just to go ahead, Hazel.
I have something, I don't know if this is the place to bring it up, but I have to say it. I don't know if any of you have been on Lydic Avenue between Holland and Kruger lately, but our favorite bar, Curvin's, has built a monstrosity on the street that's bigger than the bar itself.
3 times.
To have outdoor dining, I guess that's what it's for, outdoor drinking, whatever. And it is such, number one, an eyesore. Number two, takes up at least 5 parking spaces. And number 3, blocks off anywhere from 5 to 6 stores that are directly, on each side of this bar. I had asked Jeremy to look into it for me, but I never got feedback. And, parking there is scarce as it is. And that street is so small that this monster causes such a traffic jam when people double park that it's insane, especially during rush hour. I want to know, how the hell was she allowed to build such a big monstrosity, because that's what I keep calling it, because if any of you seen it, it's a big monster. How was she allowed to build such a big structure on such a small street and such a congested street?
So Hazel, on December 23rd, I said we could reach out to DOT if you want, but I don't recall hearing back from you. So, but I still can if you want.
Yeah, also DOB.
I'm pretty sure that I told you to go ahead and talk to whoever needed, because we need to find out. I mean, and it looks like it's a permanent structure. Like she's not even planning on taking it off.
Yeah, I mean, we'll reach out. I'll have DOT inspect.
Okay,
Jeremy, it's in the gutter. It's not on the sidewalk. And
no, I was there Tuesday or whatever.
And according to a couple of police officers I spoke to, unfortunately, it's allowable. Whether they are correct or not is another story.
DOT is the one that goes out and inspects.
But there's got to be a proportion to the size of the business.
I agree with you. The thing is 5 times the size of the bar.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I know I'm hoping she's breaking some laws there, but there's no way that this thing could be this big when her business is so small. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, and it's jeopardizing the businesses next to her because you can't even see them anymore.
We need to see if they have a permit. It's just that simple.
Yep. I'll reach out to DOT.
It's gotten so bad that these restaurants, and again, you feel sorry for them in a way, but they're right. Hazel's right. They build a structure outside that's enclosed with heaters where it's more problematic that you catch the virus in those places than you would in their regular restaurant because they're enclosed. It's just like it would be indoors. But it's outside. It's outside the main structure, so it's being allowed. It makes no sense at all. And so
Yeah, they do.
restaurants are taking advantage of it.
But
And
I
they
thought
just
it was
put up-
supposed to be on the
Hold on, Pat.
sidewalk,
They just-
not the street.
Hold
No.
on,
The
Pat.
street's taking up so
No,
many.
She's allowed to do it in the
It's
street.
ridiculous.
Street, yes.
Yeah,
And
you
it's
can
not
take,
just there, it's everywhere. All of
I just muted everybody because everybody's too unmuted and we couldn't really hear you, Pat. Pat, you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, I mean, the streets are very, very they're overpowered with all of these structures, and the parking spaces are ridiculously, blocked. So I mean, what can we do? It's bad enough that we don't have any parking spots as it is for these things to take over the street. Period.
Well, like Yahe said, we reach out to the authorities, not the police, DOT, and they'll inspect.
Okay, baby. Thank you, because it's ridiculous. It's all over. It's all over.
Another thing, they just put up I believe it's plexiglass over the openings. And I know that in a building, you can't use plexiglass because it's a fire hazard. So maybe we can get the fire department to go over there and inspect that shit too, because that shit catches fire. Forget about it. It's not only her monstrosity that's going to catch it, it's all the stores that are right next to it.
Okay. All right. So I'll reach out to DOT. And then
Thank you.
I guess I should handle this under old business, but I'm going to mark Joe Thompson and Tony Signorelli as absent for tonight. So,
I didn't hear from them.
yep. So anybody else, new business?
no, I just want to congratulate Yahe on a brief meeting.
Thank you so much, Al.
That's okay.
Okay. So
We
meeting,
got a lot accomplished, Al, so it wasn't bad.
Yeah, leave me alone. I'm teasing them.
so Yahe, are you going to adjourn your meeting then?
Hold on, I have to apologize for getting crazy, but I just get so pissed off every time I think about that.
I don't blame you.
All right, I take the blame from Al. I blame Hazel for this meeting going long.
Thank
Does
you.
anyone else want to take the blame? I suggest everyone not say anything after this. All right, I think we did accomplish a lot. Thank you so much for everybody. Your input is valuable. And thank you for your time. And we'll talk to everybody next week on Thursday.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Yahe.
Okay. Thank you, Yahe.
Awesome. Have a
Night.
blessed night.
All
Stay
right.
safe.
Thanks. Thank you, everybody, for volunteering to do minutes. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right. Good night, guys.
Bye.
Jeremy.